Hello, my name is Deborah and I'm a registered dietitian, and today we're going to talk about aspects of food safety so that what you're preparing in your house or bringing into your house you're going to be able to keep safe for you to consume and not make yourself or your family ill. So we're going to start off, we've provided you a bunch of flyers today. The first one we're going to go over is the food safety and danger zone. What this flyer is explaining is that foods from 40 below are normally kept safe in that temperature, and foods 140 and above are usually kept warm enough that microbes and those types of things can't grow and provide foodborne illness. So between 40 and 140 is that temperature zone that we call the danger zone. So we're going to talk about ways today to make sure that your foods stay in that zone, how to keep things from cross-contaminating other food items. So we'll start off with various thermometers that we have. There's things like a meat thermometer that you might be using if you're barbecuing to make sure that the food that you are eating out on your barbecue is kept safe. Here's one here. We also have meat or candy thermometers like this. This is a little bit of an older one. And then we have these types of thermometers that are digital, or they're actually the dial one. The digital thermometer is nice in the aspect that when it gets turned off, it resets and it recalibrates every time that it's off. These things are easy to get out of calibration because we normally throw them in a drawer, throw them across the counter, and they easily become not calibrated. So an easy trick in calibrating your thermometer before you use it is take your thermometer and you're going to put it in some ice water, literally water that has ice in it. What you'll do then is take that measurement. Of course, that needs to be 32 degrees when you're doing that. And on the very back of your thermometer, and hopefully you can see this, there's actually a set screw. And that set screw, then you take the end of your thermometer, there's a little tool at the end, and you alter that and change it and rotate it so that that thermometer then lands up being 32 degrees when you have it in the water. So it will look something like this when you're setting it. Okay, so that is a healthy way. You want to make sure that you sterilize the end of your thermometer. That's where it's basically taking its temperature. So when you're taking a temperature of something, making sure that you're not going too far in and you're getting the temperature of the pan that it's actually being cooked in. So you're going to want to make sure that that's clean before you put it back in the sheath. Next, we're going to talk briefly about the temperatures, refrigerator and freezer. And then we're going to come back and talk about how to store and stack your refrigerator. Some refrigerators now have a side panel where the controls are actually kept in the refrigerator. Then there's those refrigerators that have those controls on the outside. We even have refrigerators that have it to where they don't keep controls at all, and you actually have a thermometer that you will buy at a store, or you can get on the line, and you can keep that in the back of your refrigerator just to make sure that it's being kept in a safe zone. As you note, the refrigerator itself should be kept below 40 degrees, of course. So a refrigerator is normally kept somewhere between 32 and about 38 degrees. Okay, down here we have our freezer. We're going to want that. This refrigerator actually has it set up where there's only a couple options to make sure and ensure that your freezer and refrigerator are kept correctly. This one actually right now is at -1, but normally they're about 1 to 10 degrees. Okay, now we're going to briefly talk about how to store things in your refrigerator because that's important. So the top shelf of the refrigerator is going to have those pre-made items. For example, here they have examples of fruit and desserts. Those would be things that you don't want to get chicken juice on. Down below, you're going to have like eggs that are encased and a little bit more protected. Then, of course, at the bottom of your refrigerator is where you need to store the things that are actually going to be the largest potential in endangering other foods. And that would be your processed meats, your chicken, your poultry, turkey, those types of things that have salmonella that can be spread everywhere. So that is a guide for how to store things in your refrigerator. The next thing we're going to talk about, and I actually suggest cutting this out, maybe putting it somewhere in your house for a reminder, but it talks about how long things can be stored. I mean, just because we buy something doesn't mean that it has an endless date. And so we're going to talk about the storage of some of those things. So eggs, we're going to store them only 3 to 5 weeks. Salads, we have salads where they only can be stored if they're pre-made and bought from a deli. You're only going to want to store them 3 to 5 days. Hot dogs, not a long time there, like 1 week. And then if you go on and you have lunch meat has been processed, and so it has a shorter period of time, even though it's been brined and treated, because that has happened to it and it's been manipulated in a factory of some nature. It only has a 3 to 5 day storage. Okay, bacon, sausage, we go on through those fresh meats. Those are going to be very, very short periods of time. And then if we go down to the bottom, soups and stews, 3 to 4 days. And then if we're talking about leftovers, really 3 to 4 days is about it. So you got to figure out some type of marking system, be able to record so that you know that you aren't keeping your food too long where it can make you ill. The next thing we're going to talk about is if you purchase something from a store, how to know when it expires. So normally, and there is an expiration date on, for example, items. Like, for example, this one is the 15th of July, 2021. And so I know that, hey, I have a few months to use this or it will expire. If I'm purchasing my food from a store where they're known to have expiration dates come a little faster than some other stores, you might want to make sure that you mark it with a pin on top. And then when you get home, rotate that so that the things that expire first are used and they're at the forefront of what you're using. I used to have to actually mark things with a marking pen when I got home to know when canned goods expire, but now we have it to where they actually stamp it. So there's usually a stamp on canned goods that'll let you know. That way you can keep a first in, first out type system going where you can rotate cans and things so that your products are not going to expire. Okay. Finally, the one area I want to talk about and stress is the fact that surfaces, your utensils that you're cleaning your dishes with, all of those things need to be kept clean themselves. So if you're using rags to wipe down your counters, making sure that that rag is sterile and that it gets switched out frequently with either each meal or each day, however you're doing your cleaning in your kitchen, to make sure that, for example, if you have prepared chicken and you have salmonella, you're not spreading salmonella all over the surfaces of that kitchen. If you have sponges, making sure that these sponges are kept clean, rotated often, and whether it's sticking them in the dishwasher so that they get sterilized along with those dishes. However you need to do it to make sure that you're not spreading germs with that, or even wiping down surfaces, making sure that contaminating things by bringing new objects in all the time and that your counters are clean. So that is really our how to prepare and keep your food safe in a nutshell. Please stay tuned for our question and answer time. Thank you.